You survived the countdown. You asked the 5 questions. But here's what you didn't know. While we were focusing on Messi, Mbappé, and Haaland, something else was happening in the shadows, in the training grounds of nations you forgot about, in the hearts of players you never watched. There are 5 teams in 2026 that nobody is talking about, but they should be, because these are the teams that will break hearts. These are the teams that will rewrite narratives. These are the dark horses. Let's go back to 2022. A nation that had never been to the semifinals suddenly reached the semifinals. Morocco, the Atlas Lions. They walked into Qatar as a team nobody expected. They walked out as a revelation. Everyone remembers that moment, right? Achraf Hakimi, right back for Paris Saint-Germain, playing at a level that made defenders weep. Brahim Díaz, a technician from Real Madrid, weaving passes like a surgeon. But here's the thing most people don't realize. That 2022 Morocco team was built on momentum and youth. They were hungry, they were angry, they were unstoppable, but then they lost. France beat them in the semifinals, and the world moved on. Everyone said, that was the peak, it's over. But what if it wasn't? 2026 is not 2022. The hunger doubled, the anger multiplied, because now every player knows what they're capable of. Hakimi is not the rising star anymore. He is the established elite. Nayef Aguerd, their center back, he is West Ham's defensive rock. Sofiane Amrabat, their midfielder, he is Florence's heartbeat, and in Group C, they face Brazil. Brazil, the team that should dominate the world. But here's what I know. In 2022, Morocco proved something to themselves. They can beat anyone on their day. And now, with 4 more years of experience, with players who have played in Champions League finals, with a psychological edge, Morocco is not an underdog anymore. They are a sleeping giant that woke up. The narrative everyone is missing. While you were watching France build their dynasty, while you were watching England struggle, while you were watching Brazil search for themselves, Morocco was building, slowly, methodically, tactically. They lost 1 match in 2022, just 1. And the lesson they learned from that loss? We can beat anyone. We just need to play our game. So, here's the real question. When Morocco faces Brazil in the group stage, when they face Scotland, when they face Haiti, will they remind the world what happened in 2022? Or will they prove that 2022 was just the beginning? Because, I'll tell you this, if Morocco reaches the semifinals again, the narrative of 2026 changes forever. It's no longer about the European giants, it's about African ascendants. 24 years. That's how long Turkey has been waiting. The last time they were in a World Cup, they shocked the world by finishing 3rd, runners-up in the tournament, baby. Nobody saw it coming. But then, silence. 24 years of silence. No World Cups, no glory, no moments, just waiting. And then, 2023 came along. A boy named Arda Güler emerged. Arda Güler is not just a player, he is a statement that Turkey is back. Watch him. Lightning quick feet. Vision that sees 3 passes ahead. Finishing that is clinical. At 23 years old, he is already one of the world's top 5 attacking talents. But there's more. Kenan Yıldız, another Turkish genius, playing for Juventus, destroying defenders for fun. These are not prospects. These are established elite players. And they are hungry, because for 24 years, Turkey watched from the outside. They watched other nations celebrate. They watched their moment slip away. Now, Şenol Güneş, the coach, he's building something different. Not a defensive machine, not a counterattacking team, a technically superior force. Turkey is going to try to dictate the game. They are going to try to control possession. They are going to try to dominate through skill. In Group D, they face the United States, Paraguay, and Australia. Now, the narrative everyone is telling, the USA is the favorite, but I'm going to tell you something different. If Turkey can get past this group, if Güler and Yıldız can prove that Turkish football is elite, then 2026 becomes a resurrection story, not just for Turkey, but for a nation that refused to stay quiet. You see, Turkey has something that money can't buy: passion, national pride, a 24-year hunger. And when you combine passion with skill, with technical brilliance, with world-class players, you get a dark horse that nobody saw coming. So when Turkey faces the USA, when they face Paraguay, when they face Australia, remember this moment. Remember when I told you, Turkey is not just participating. Turkey is announcing that they are back, and they mean business. Colombia has a disease. And the disease is flair. For decades, Colombian football has been defined by individual brilliance, chaotic energy, and a style that makes defenders' heads spin. But flair doesn't win World Cups. System wins World Cups. And for years, Colombia tried to be something they're not. They tried to be structured. They tried to be disciplined. They tried to be European, and they failed. But then, something changed. Luis Díaz, not a long passer, not a deep midfielder, not a defender, a left winger, the most devastating 1v1 player in world football right now. Watch him. He doesn't need space. He creates space. He doesn't need the perfect pass. He makes his own opportunity. Liverpool signed him because he is elite, and he hasn't just been good, he's been brilliant. And then there's James Rodríguez, the comeback king. Everyone thought he was done. Too old, too slow, past his prime. But James is playing for Rayo Vallecano in Spain, and he's reminding everyone why he was world class. His vision, perfect. His passing range, unlimited. His ability to create from nothing, unmatched. In Group K, Colombia faces Portugal, Uzbekistan, and Congo. Now, here's the thing. Portugal is the favorite. Everyone expects Portugal to dominate. But Colombia's logic is simple. If we can get our best players in transition, if we can get Díaz running with space, if we can get James finding those killer passes, we can beat anyone. Colombia has been sleeping for too long. They had a moment in 2014 when they looked dangerous. James was magnificent. They reached the quarterfinals, but then they fell back to sleep. Years of mediocrity, years of underperformance, years of wasted talent. But now, 2026 is different. Now Díaz is in his prime. Now James is reborn. Now the hunger is real. I'm telling you something. Colombia is going to explode in 2026. They have the technical quality to beat anyone. They have the flair to create magic. They have the hunger that comes from years of being forgotten. When they face Portugal, when they face Uzbekistan, when they play their football, they won't just be playing for 3 points. They'll be playing to remind the world that Colombian football is elite, that Colombian football can dominate, that Colombian football is back. There are moments in history when a nation explodes onto the world stage, when a team that has never been there before suddenly appears and says, "We belong here." 2026 is that moment for Jordan. Jordan has never been to a World Cup, not once. In the entire history of the tournament, they have never qualified, but they just did, and not by luck, by determination. Now, you might think they're just here to participate. They'll go home after the group stage, and statistically, you're probably right, but let me tell you something about 2026. The format changed. 48 teams instead of 32. That means more chances. That means more opportunities. That means more space for surprises. In Group J, Jordan faces Argentina, the defending champions, Algeria, and Austria. Argentina should dominate, but here's what makes Jordan dangerous. They have nothing to lose. This is their first time. Every single match is a celebration for them. Every single moment is a victory just to be there. And that mentality, that creates a special energy. When you have young players, when you have players who are playing in their first World Cup, when you have a nation behind you that is celebrating just your presence, that creates something that experience can't match. Jordan is part of something bigger. The Middle East is rising in football. Qatar just hosted. Saudi Arabia shocked everyone in 2022. And now Jordan is announcing, we are capable, we are competitive, we are here. Here's the dark horse element. What if Jordan can draw with Austria? What if they can get a result against one of the bigger teams? What if they can shock the world just once? It won't change their destiny in the tournament, but it will change everything about how the world sees Middle Eastern football. So when Jordan plays Argentina, when they play Austria, when they take that field, remember, this is not just a team playing, this is a nation arriving for the first time ever. Uruguay has a curse, and the curse is memory, because once they were gods. The Maracana. Brazil had built a cathedral of football, 99,000 people filling the stadium, everyone expecting Brazil to win. But Uruguay came to war, and they won. That was 76 years ago. Since then, Uruguay has been chasing that ghost. They won Copa America in 2011. They reached the semifinals in 2010, but they never won another World Cup, and every 4 years, the world asks the same question. Is this the year Uruguay resurrects? And every 4 years, the answer has been no. But now something is different. Marcelo Bielsa, one of the most tactically brilliant coaches in the world, a man who believes in chaos, a man who believes in high-intensity pressing, a man who believes that football is a war of attrition, and he's taken Uruguay and said, "We are done being nostalgic, we are done chasing ghosts, we are going to reinvent ourselves." Enter Federico Valverde, Real Madrid's midfielder engine, one of the most dynamic, powerful, intelligent midfielders in the world. Not just a player, a force of nature. Under Bielsa, Uruguay plays pure intensity. They press every opponent. They transition with lightning speed. They score on movement and chaos. It's not beautiful football, it's destructive football. And in Group H, they face Spain, La Roja, the most technically pure team in the world. Spain passes, Spain controls, Spain dictates, but Uruguay? Uruguay destroys the idea that you need possession to win. Here's the dark horse element. What if Uruguay's intensity breaks Spain? What if Bielsa's chaos defeats the perfect system? What if Federico Valverde runs the midfield with such power that even the Spanish coach has no answer? Uruguay is a nation that remembers. They remember 1950, they remember 2010, they remember every moment of glory, and they remember every moment of heartbreak. 2026 could be their redemption, not just a tournament win, but a statement that Uruguay is still relevant, that Uruguay is still dangerous, that the ghosts of 1950 haven't been forgotten, they've been reincarnated. 5 teams, 5 nations, 5 different stories, but one truth. In 2026, the World Cup is not just about the teams everyone expects. It's about the teams nobody is watching. It's about the nations preparing in the shadows. It's about the dark horses that are going to break hearts. Morocco is hungry again. Turkey is announcing their return. Colombia is reminding everyone why flair matters. Jordan is arriving for the first time. Uruguay is resurrecting the past, and when you combine their hunger, their passion, their technical quality, their tactical brilliance, you get something that the European elite cannot predict. These 5 teams will not win the World Cup, but they will change the narrative. They will create moments you'll remember forever. They will prove that the World Cup is bigger than any individual team. It's about destiny. It's about moments. It's about nations that refuse to be forgotten. So when 2026 arrives, when these dark horses take the field, when they challenge the status quo, remember these names, remember these stories, because you are about to witness the rise of teams that nobody saw coming. Morocco, Turkey, Colombia, Jordan, Uruguay, the dark horses of 2026. Are you ready for the chaos? Like this video if you believe one of these dark horses will shock the world in 2026. Subscribe for more deep dives into the teams, tactics, and stories that will define this tournament. The countdown continues. The dark horses are coming, and they are hungry.